Our next speaker is from the Brahma Kumaris. Sister Jayanti is the European Director of Brahma Kumaris and the representative at the United Nations in Geneva, and a spiritual leader and teacher for over 50 years. She is a pioneer advocate for the spiritual basis of caring for the earth and a key presenter at the COP conference since 2009. She has championed the cooperative role of spiritual organizations in creating a just and peaceful world, and she brings spiritual principles to the discussion table of politicians, economists, business leaders, scientists, and nearly every other stakeholder in our times. Thank you, Sister Jayanti.
Thank you. Can you hear me? No? I'd like to share a greeting of peace with my sisters and my brothers. Om Shanti. I think there are three things that give me courage and give me the inspiration to share that courage with others. Firstly, I believe deeply and sincerely that a better world is possible. And it might sound crazy given the conditions of the present time, but I think that humanity has within its core goodness. Every single human soul has goodness within it, and when this goodness is touched and tapped into, then we're able to together hold that narrative, hold that vision of a better world, and work together to make it happen. And yes, what happens is that we've forgotten that inherent goodness because we've got so caught up with materialistic ambitions and achievements and possessions. And so we've lost touch of that connection with the self and the connection with nature. And if we can revive that and make people aware of this, it can change. And of course, there's a question, well, we've been trying to make people aware for a long time. So what's happening today? Is it any different? Well, I think there is a big difference. I think that young people in particular are the voice of the future, the hope of the future. And if ever people thought that, well, what can I, one alone, do as an individual? Just look at the story of Greta Thunberg. And you can see how one individual was somehow inspired and has been able to inspire young people across the globe. And so even today, in the world with all its distractions, one individual can make a difference. And so people coming here and making time to hear something which is a little bit different to many of the things being shared out there, I think what's happening here are the things of the heart. And so as we focus on the things of the heart and we allow that goodness to be touched and expressed and we move towards that vision, we can make that vision become a reality. And so first is to hold that vision very clearly ahead. Secondly is to believe in ourselves, that we do have that inner capacity to make a difference and bring about a change. And the third, what I would like to say, and I know that for some people it might not be so comfortable, but since we've been asked to speak from the heart, I think I'd like to share from my heart that it was the awareness of my connection with the divine that gave me that power and that courage to be able to step forward and go against the current trend of society, which is a very materialistic one. And so if at this moment it feels that even though there is a movement that's now very aware, yet still sometimes within your office, within your family even, maybe within your social circle, you might seem to be the odd one. I think that if you're touched by that connection with the divine, then you have the power to step away from the current scenario and say that, yes, we can do something differently and we can put human beings first and not money and not other things. But as soon as I know myself and I begin to have dignity and respect for myself, I can start having respect for others around me, but also it again reignites the the dignity and respect for nature. Nature is sacred, and I think we've moved very far away into the secular world. But coming back to the awareness of my inner dignity, I'm able to see nature with different eyes, and again decide that it has to be a relationship with nature that can make a difference, and that's what I'm going to work towards. But I definitely want to share that vision of hope that yes, there is a better world ahead. I have no question about it in my mind at all, and I think together we can make it happen, of course with the power that comes from above. Thank you.